He was a lone cowboy, until his daughters brought home a beautiful Apache woman. The sun was rolling low over the Arizona plains, a heavy copper disk that seemed to rest its weight on the shoulders of the world, and the cowboy known as Eli. Thatcher rode beneath it like a shadow wandering, a land too big for any one man to hold. Years had carved him down into a quiet shape, broad-shouldered, sharp-eyed, but softened by a sorrow he never spoke of, the kind that settles into a man's bones and makes him move slower, talk less, and pray only when nobody is watching. His ranch, the Dustwalker spread, sat lonely on the edge of a valley the wind could never quite finish crossing. And though the land was wide and the skies generous, the home itself felt hollow without the warmth it once held when his wife, Maria, was alive. Now it was kept alive only by the laughter of his two daughters, Anna, the headstrong one with dust on her boots and fire in her words, and Lily, the gentle soul, who followed sunlight the way flowers do. Those girls were the only reason Eli kept standing, kept working, kept trying. He never said it aloud, but he admired the way they carried hope even when he couldn't find any left. That late afternoon, as he rode in from checking the northern fence line, he saw their silhouettes on the porch, two figures he knew by heart, and a third he did not, a tall and graceful form wrapped in buckskin and turquoise, the braids of her midnight hair gleaming in the setting sun, her stance strong yet calm like a pine that refused the storm. Eli slowed his horse immediately, instinct stirring, because strangers were rare out here, and beautiful ones were rarer still. Anna stepped forward first, chin high as always, calling out, "Pa, you need to come meet someone!" And Lily stood beside the stranger with a quiet excitement that made Eli frown with curiosity. The woman met his gaze without flinching, eyes deep, dark, steady, carrying the wisdom of someone who had lived under harsher skies than his own, and she inclined, her head with the kind of respect that wasn't forced or timid, but earned on her own terms. "This is Naya," Lily said softly, her voice bright with amazement. "She saved us." Eli dismounted slowly, boots crunching on dry gravel, his hand brushing the mare's shoulder as he studied the woman before him. Naya, as she was called, did not move except to let a small breeze lift the beads tied in her hair, and when she finally spoke, her voice flowed like quiet thunder, rolling across canyon stone. "Your daughters crossed into lands that do not forgive carelessness. I simply guided them back." Eli's jaw tensed, not with anger, but with the protective instinct of a father who had nearly lost everything once before. "What were you girls doing out that far?" he asked, his tone carrying both reprimand and relief. But Anna, fearless as always, stepped between him and the moment, saying, "Pa, Naya didn't just guide us, she fought off two men who were following us. If she hadn't shown up when she did—" She didn't finish, but she didn't need to. Eli's eyes cut sharply back to the Apache woman, and for the first time, he noticed the faint smear of dust on her cheek, the subtle swelling at her knuckles. The way her breathing was even but deliberate, like someone who'd walked away from danger she'd been fully prepared to face. "You're hurt," he muttered, but Naya shook her head. "It is nothing," she answered, though the steadiness in her words didn't hide the exhaustion in her shoulders. Lily, gentle Lily, touched Naya's arm and looked at her father pleadingly. "Can she stay? Just tonight? She's been walking since morning, and the men who attacked us might still be out." "There." Eli hesitated, not out of distrust, but because the world had taught him that every blessing comes with a cost, and strangers rarely arrived without bringing storms of their own. But something about Naya, her poise, her silence, her refusal to explain more than necessary, felt honest in a way he couldn't ignore, so he nodded once and stepped aside. "You're welcome under my roof," he said quietly. "Any friend who protected my daughters is a friend worth feeding." Naya accepted the gesture with the faintest softening of her expression, though her eyes held something else, something searching, something weary, something like a secret she wasn't sure she should carry anymore. And as the four of them walked toward the house, Eli felt a shift in the air, a subtle tug at the threads of fate, as though the desert itself held its breath, sensing that the arrival of this woman was about to change everything the Dustwalker Ranch had been for years. Its silence, its grief, and the lonely cowboy, who had forgotten what it felt. Like to let someone new into his world,